Good day, podcast community. I'm Pete Kane. People call me sometimes Podcast Pete. I'm here with you to make you great again. 10x your life and your business now, and 3 strategies now. The opportunity is never like it's ever been before. But you have to take action. You have to lean in. As Michael Saylor with Bitcoin said, it's on a need to know. If you need to know the future, you got to do your homework. You got to be aware of the change that's happening. I'm going to give you 3 strategies, and I'm going to give you some call to action on each one of them. So for those that want to change, for those that want to grow by 10x your life and your business, and you want 3 strategies to do it, this is for you. If you're not interested in that kind of mindset, you don't need to listen to this because it won't make any sense to you. All right, let's get going. I'm going to give you, after each strategy, I'm going to give you a call to experience, because information is power if you implement it. We're getting so much information thrown at us. If you don't learn how to implement it in your life, it's just entertainment. So the first is AI. You have to know how to use it in your life and in your business, because everybody gets 24 hours. Every single person. Equal playing field. If you like that, that's an equal playing field, not the others that we've been used to for the last 20 years, or at least last 4 intensely. But you are going to run your life differently than, say, a high performer, Elon Musk, Oprah. You can go on and on, Michael Saylor. You can go Daniel Priestley, Seth Godin, Jeff Bourgeois, Chris Do. And I could go on. I have a few up here. I think I still do. I'm missing one person I know, but I'll think of it. But, Brendon Burchard. Oh my gosh, how did I miss that? Brendon Burchard. Search all these people. See, these are people that know how to leverage time and know how to get the most out of 24 hours. If you're a reactive person, like the first thing you do when you get up, you check the email, you're checking other people's priorities. You're not worried. You're not concerned about what you want to do that day, the impact you want to make, the way you want to design your day. You're just reacting. I call it, you're on the busy bus. The busy bus goes to wherever it goes. It's noisy. It's distracting. A lot of people on it. You get off wherever you want to get off. You don't get off where you're going. So that busy bus mindset will absolutely, you will miss everything. Because I like what, I'm trying to think of the person that said this. I think it was Daniel Priestley. He said, let's say that Richard Branson took your life for a year and you took his for a year. He would see opportunities you wouldn't see, and you would take his and miss opportunities that are obvious. It's the mindset. It's a constant understanding of leveraging your time, leveraging your thinking, leveraging everything about how you implement, how you improve, what you do in your day. And I remember reading, and I'm trying to think of the person, I think it was Daniel Priestley, that Oprah works 2 hours a day. And you think, 2 hours, that's it? Or let's say Tim Ferriss, we can say that 4-hour work week. I used to think, like, I don't want to work 4 hours a week. I want to work my normal week. I want to work hard, but I didn't understand it. This was years ago. I didn't understand it was the 80-20 of the 80-20 of the 80-20 that got to the point when those 4 hours that he's like quote unquote working, his activity, his decisions, his choices with that time are like the highest performer around. And you know if that's the case with yours. That's why we say make you great again. You have it in you. It's just that that superpower has not been pulled out of you yet. Took me 50 years. 50 years. Yes, 50 years. At age 18, I think it was actually 19 maybe, I found out I was dyslexic and ADD. I'd flunked English. I had made 2 unsuccessful attempts at Virginia Tech. I basically left the second time. I did 2 quarters the first time, was a disaster. Did 1 quarter the second time. I thought, I just changed my environment. I can do this. And it was worse. And I come home with my head between my tail. Like, what the heck just happened? I didn't even come close. Neither did I come close in high school. I mean, high school. I flunked with flying colors. And I actually cared. I was in summer school with people that didn't necessarily care, didn't apply themselves, but I actually did. And I didn't even come close. So when you get diagnosed with something like that, you're wondering, what the heck does that mean? I go through 40 some years, almost 50, up and down like a roller coaster. I'd jump on Adderall or Ritalin at the time. I'd get a little bit of traction. I tried to get off it because I didn't like it. I mean, Adderall, for all those you that understand, it's legal speed. That's all. That's just legal speed. So you want to be on speed the rest of your life? Take Adderall. If you don't, learn your skills to manage it. So I go through 40 years of fearful to send an email, misspelling every possible word I could spell. But the only thing I could spell correctly was the. Everything else that had more than 3 letters, I would butcher it. So if you're sending an email out and you're misspelling all these words, and email communication is the way you communicate, people are going like, what the heck? This guy can't spell. Is he stupid? And that's what you label yourself. So you're always fearful and you're slow because you have to look at every single word. You have to look it up in the dictionary. People say, if you don't understand, don't know how to spell a word, look it up in the dictionary. You can't. You don't even know how to start. It's always frustrating when people say, look it up in the dictionary. Well, what if you don't even know the first letter? And sometimes that's the case with dyslexia. It's just a totally different mindset. That's why 20% of the population are dyslexic. Now, a percentage of those, like Richard Branson, Tom Cruise, I could go on and on. I had a guest on my podcast, and he was reeling off all these different. I didn't know half of them, but they were able to embrace their superpower. They were able to launch themselves because I think differently. Dyslexic people think differently. They just do. And it's not conventional because you can't sit, especially if you have ADD, you can't sit and try to learn through conventional ways. You got to experience it. You got to think it. You got to, and once technology came into play, which I was at the Shank School, which if you're in Atlanta, you know that's one of the better dyslexic schools in the city. And when I was able to qualify for a grant and was diagnosed and went through the course, the instructor, Foster, I know, Soul, something like that. I remember her saying, good news, bad news. Good news is when you get in this class or group, you're going to look at the whole spectrum of dyslexia. You're going to see some people that are absolutely, what do you call, absolutely captured by it. It's controlled because you can't read. You have to function in a society. They look at you and they say, why can't you read those directions? That's not, you process it differently. And she said, the bad news is, no, I don't think she said that, but she said, you are dyslexic. I said, good. Okay, I knew that. And she said, now you're going to be able to compare, not that you want to, but know the severity and the complexity of it. And I was an eye opener. I mean, it really crushed your heart to see grown adults having so much struggle. I did, but I kind of gravitated to the relationship part, which was good because I sucked at academics. I said, I got to do something. So I love people. I love being around people. I love learning about people. I was curious and all that. But I go through 40 years of just up and down depression to the point where you have suicidal ideology. I mean, at least 5 to 6 times it almost ended because it's weird because the brain just will just consume what you think. And if you're always thinking fear, you're less than, you don't value yourself, you're struggling in business, you're trying to support a family, all these things keep stacking on top of you. And the easy thing to do, which is actually kind of ironic because it isn't, but it is to remove yourself from the pain. I understand it like nobody else could because I survived it. I knew, I don't even want to get into it on this podcast, but I did not want to continue. It was so painful. So it just starts to compound. You freeze, you can't do anything. I sat many days just staring at the computer, doing nothing. And they always say when I was at when I was at, not Shepherd, I was at Overture, movement is medicine. You got to move. You got to take action. You got to keep going. You got to just fail, learn from it, keep going, never quit. I had that, but I didn't because when the pain of embarrassment, shame is on you every single day, it just keeps wearing you down. So anyway, I survive. And I tell you this to give you the mindset of when you're in the middle of a storm, just keep moving. Because when you get on the other side of the storm, that's when you can reflect and learn and grow. Christian, and I'll have to get his name down, was on my podcast, and then we reconnected. I was on a strategy call for him. And he said PTSG, not PTSD, PTSG. First one is disorder. The second one is growth. We grow through our tragedies. We grow through our storms. That's why the recent elections, one was battle tested. You can pick. It was the winner. The other had never had a battle in her life. And she showed it. It was an absolute disaster. It was an embarrassment if you really look at it the way you should. Now, plenty of people say all kinds of things. It's your choice. But you could see the American people voted convincingly that they wanted one candidate over another because one was battle tested. Assassination, impeachment, prosecution. You name it, it went on and on for 8 years, 9 years. Would you have been able to withstand that? I've heard lots of people say, I don't know how he did it, but he did. And that's why we're seeing right now somebody that's on a mission to make America great again. And he's so focused on collaborating, bringing people in. Look at the cabinet picks. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 100 times. They're amazed. But he was battle tested. He grew through adversity. When somebody's attacking you every single day on a national stage, most of us would crumble. But the ones that grow through tragedy are the ones that come out of it with a superpower. And he has one. He has a superpower to get things done. And that's really what you have to have. You got to be battle tested. Take every adversity, every trauma in your life, every storm. Get through it, keep moving, get better. Just get through it. Don't do it yourself. If you're in a situation where you need help, then get a therapist, get a coach, get a mentor, but get somebody to help you through it. Don't try and do it alone. My strategy was shrink to being embarrassed and being everything, and you just shrink. And people go, I didn't know you were going through that. You wouldn't. But that's a sign that you should be reaching out to people. You don't know what people are going through till you talk to them. Don't text them. Don't email them. Call them. I make 10 calls a day because I emotionally want to connect with people. I want to hear from people. I want to know how I can help you. I want to know your life. So I've done 350 podcasts, and I'm just getting started. And I was able to learn while I was doing those podcasts. And that's one of the benefits. It's a side thing that podcast does, is it gives you the ability to share a story for you to learn and your audience to learn. So AI, if you're not embracing AI, you're going to be in the crowd that wonders what happened. I go out and I ask people now, how are you using AI in your business? About 95% of the people, they don't have an answer. They aren't using it. And that's what you call missed opportunity. Now, you can go online and listen to how people are using it. Those are kind of the small percentage. Let's say they're the 3%. It's always like 3% are the adapters, the trailblazers, the small percentage that go out there and they're like the Elon Musk. They're like the people like Candace Owens. They're people like Ben Shapiro. They're people like just different people that are out there sharing their ideas. They're sharing and they're not afraid to share. They just get out there, they speak from their heart and they share because they want to give back. They want to help people. And when you have that kind of attitude, you're in that small percentage. Unfortunately, a lot of us are not in that. And we're in the ones that, oh, now it's obvious. I heard a discussion. This is a little bit off. No, it didn't. It was a guy they were debating Bitcoin. Peter Schiff, I think, and Michael Breed. I believe I'd never heard of him, but Michael Saylor, you will hear him because his company is buying everything. And you can see the bias to gold. I mean, his argument had so many holes in it, it could have been Swiss cheese. But he doesn't have an open mind. He has a closed mind. He's closed to the fact that nothing's better than gold. Gold has been around for 1,000 years. Before they went out, so was the dinosaurs, but they're gone. And so if you say it's been around for 1,000 years, you're just basically labeling yourself as not being open. So what? It's been out. We're not looking back. We're looking forward. When Steve Jobs took over, came back at Apple, they had an Apple museum. And he said, get it out of here. I'm not looking back. I'm looking ahead. I don't need to be reminded of history. I need to look to innovate history and shape history. So that Peter Schiff is like, I got this museum of gold and I love it. And I love it. It's solid. I mean, his arguments were so full of holes. But it's like when you close your mind and you don't open it up to understanding AI, you're going to be wondering what happened. My partner, Jeff Bourgeois, look him up. We'll try to put some things in the show notes. But I tell you what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to give you a free course. Okay. Jeff Bourgeois, free mini course at pkane.me/AI. Free. This is your chance to learn about AI because it is moving business so fast that if you wait, let's say you wait till June to take advantage of this, it's like you're running a marathon. You have two ways to get to the end of that marathon. You got a Lamborghini and you got a tricycle. The tricycle is a mindset that you always had, and you're not willing to adapt anything new. And the Lamborghini is life with AI. Who do you think is going to get to the end faster? Both are going to get there eventually. One's going to get there so fast that the other person on the tricycle is going to be shaking his head because took the wrong media of transportation. So look at AI as your transportation super highway. Learn from AI. When Jeff kept telling me, are you using AI in your business? And I kept saying, no, I'm too busy doing podcasts. He kept asking. Finally, there was a day, it was on my phone, and I speak to text everything. And so I put in a command to create a course on mindset, goals, and habits. And it finished it in 15 seconds, maybe 10. Now, I gave it the command, then I go and take the final 10%. So it did 80%, I do 20%. And that's all you want AI. You don't do completely because what you're putting is yourself, your fingerprint on what it does, but it's going to do the 80%. So I basically now, just to give you another hack that I use or another strategy, is when I read books, I used to be the slowest reader and lowest comprehender because I couldn't stay focused. There's a lot of things. And so I would buy books. I got a good library there, but can't say I've read them all. And you don't necessarily have to read them all, but you got to retain the main points. And then how are you going to apply it? So what I do is I take AI, I put it in ChatGPT. I say, give me the 10 major points of this book. So it spits it out. Then I take it, I put it in my journaling app that's new on the iPhone, and I take a picture for the visual. Then I put it in another journaling app. Then I put it in Apple Notes that I can share. Then I print it out. Never knew it could until about 2 weeks ago. So I print out the 10 major points. Then I get it on audio, and I usually listen at 1.7 speed, 1.75 speed, because I've trained my brain to comprehend faster. Then I buy the book. And I read what I want to read out of there. I don't read the whole book, but I speed read the major points. That way I'm engaging many of my learning styles as I possibly can. And then I teach it. I just started doing this. So they always say you learn, I think you retain 10%. But when you teach it, it goes up to 90%. So by teaching it, I'm increasing my learning, and it using all those modalities, I go from the slowest reader to the fastest reader. And being able to implement all these strategies, It is wild, to say the least, because I know what it used to be like. I would like, oh, I read a page and I go, what did I read? Because my mind wasn't trained. And so if you're on Adderall, it's just that I'm not saying I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not somebody that can recommend. All I can do is talk about my experience. And I was hooked. The first thing I did in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning is take my pill. First thing, every day, 7 days a week. Now, Sunday's kind of a day of rest, half a day usually, but I still took it because I was addicted. So you're addicted to the speed, the legal speed, and you tell yourself that you're doing so much more with it. Now, if you, and I know because February 17th was the last, it's 2 years ago, was the last, maybe two, at least two, was the last time I took a pill. And that day was hell on earth. And it took me months to retrain my brain, months. And Limitless by Jim Quick helped in that journey. Learning, he's the brain coach. He was labeled the boy with a broken brain. Look him up. So if you want to accelerate your learning, he's the expert at it. But that's learning. My brain was a mush. I couldn't follow a command if you told it to me 3 times because I was going to PT, and it was a disaster for a while until I retrained my brain. Just to give you an idea of what's possible, I go down and I take a study, a cognitive test study at Shepherd. And in my life, I don't think I ever got an A. I don't remember it. Probably might have, I don't know. But I never got any good grades. I mean, I fail in English, and I would get by, and I would try to memorize. But anyway, so I go down there and I take this test, and it's a kind of a cool test. You're in you're taking brain scans, and you have your eyes open for 45 minutes of the time. Then the rest you can open up your eyes. So you're taking the cognitive test. And it's memory, it's objects, it's a lot of things. So it's about 20 minutes, maybe 25. And I remember the guy, we finished it. And he looked at me kind of like, the canary in the mouth, like, what's going on? He kind of looked at me very strange. He said, have you ever taken this test before? And I said, no. Why you ask? And he said, you didn't miss one question. And I went, what? He goes, I do these tests on a regular basis. I've never had anybody get everyone right. And that was the first kind of validation that I'd got my first A in my life. So I was able to see the end result of retraining your brain. And I say that because this one strategy of AI implementation is so important, because if you can take 80% of your hard work off your plate and you focus on 20%, you're going to accelerate your ability to implement, your ability to achieve high levels of impact. So, okay, now let me get this off here. Hold on here. I went a little long. I was going to do a 10-minute, but it didn't work out. Okay, let me see. Gosh, I got to figure this one out because it just moved my mouse. I'm usually a Mac user. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So the second strategy is you've got to understand we're moving from the industrial economy to the digital economy. Your digital footprint is your real estate or your gold that's in your backyard. So the ability for you to create a digital footprint, And I'll go back to one of my mentors, Daniel Priestley, 7-11-4. What that means is people, to get to know you in the digital world, they have to consume 7 hours of you, 11 buying signals, meaning a comment, they request information, assessment, buy your book, different things. But they do it 11 times, and it's basically Google's zero moment of truth. When people make, I think it's 10.6, they're basically ready to buy. Once they search something 10.6 times, they buy after that. And that's the way people do now. So they're making the signals, they're saying they're interested, and then 4 different platforms is the 4. So it could be YouTube, it could be a podcast, could be a book, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, it could be LinkedIn, it could be a white paper. Different, just 4 different ones. And what happens, the brain clicks on. So now I know and like and trust this person, because 7 hours, you can't fool anybody. You put 7 hours out there consumed by somebody. You're putting more out there, but you have to give people an opportunity to consume 7 hours. Now I ask people like, hey, search me, then search your name. And that gap between your name and my name is your opportunity, because you can search me and you'll see, and we're just getting started. I mean, just getting started. There's another gentleman that I want to share with you, Dan Martell. Buy Back Your Time. Got great videos. He's been doing it for 10 years. So you don't need to compare yourself to him, but that's a good bar to shoot for. So you're going to be able to see people that start, not trying to be perfectionists, but start and keep getting better and better and better. And when you buy back your time, you're doing higher leverage things, because you give the opportunity for people to do these other things. And there's a whole strategy in it. But the main thing is, look at the quality of his videos. Look at the quality of his content. He's created a digital footprint that's big, like huge. And when you see his stuff, it's so good. But he didn't start today. He started 10 years ago. That's why he's so good. But he used the concept, his journey. He buys back his time. So his book out there, get his book. Search it on YouTube. Get some of his videos. Get an Audible. Take an AI. Say, give me the 10 major insights from Buy Back Your Time. And then start applying it. Teach it. Start getting out there, because you're going to learn it when you teach it. Remember, 10% versus 90% gives you an opportunity to learn at a higher percentage. So with that, create a digital footprint. That's number 2. And what I'm going to give you here is our ecosystem. I have it in purple now. This is good. I didn't even change the color, but hey, it is what it is. So purple I don't know, might have some significance. It's usually red. I wear red because of my golfing days, Tiger Woods. So anyway, so Masterclass gives you 10 steps. It's our ecosystem. Number 9 is the AI. Number 1 is the assessment. The bonus is Buy Back Your Time. That's Team Trexa. We don't let people implement that because, one, we haven't scaled it yet, and we're working on creating a system for it. But we're using all 10 of them. And so you can get an idea of this. And it's on I've done 350 podcasts. And we're starting something in, I think, the 6th or 8th of January. We're taking 20 people from the 350, and we're gonna create the most accelerated success group. 2 groups of 10. We're going to go through the 10 steps. I'm going to be the high performance coach that's going to work with that group with their strategy. And when you have that, and you do it now, then these will be the winners of the digital revolution because they'll understand it. I have you for 1 hour a week for 12 weeks. We create for 1 hour a week for 12 weeks. So the group will have such an accelerated program, and they'll be launching that Make You Great Again, 10x your life in your business. And then we'll be implementing that with the strategy. So you'll be able to understand it right here. And when you are interested in something, so let's just say Bitcoin. I've heard a lot of people say, I don't really understand it. So what do you stop there and not understand it? That's what some people do. But if you're curious and you don't understand something, then find out about something, lean into it. Like Michael Saylor, he's the best out there. Great videos, great education. His company, MicroStrategy, I think, is buying more Bitcoin. But you have people like Peter, let me see. Oh, I'm trying to think. I know his name. Schiff. Yeah, Peter Schiff. Just stuck in the past. Stuck in the past. He's got a brain for gold, and that's all he thinks about. And he thinks because it's been around for 1,000 years, it's not going away, but that's an analog version versus the digital version of currency. The only currency that you can't manipulate, the only currency that can't lose its value. The dollar, I heard, loses 17% with inflation. All so it's either 7 or 17. But you take your cash, put it in your mattress. Every year you're going to lose money. It's going to go down. Then when we start to print money, like we've been doing, out of control, then inflation loses the buying power. And so if you're like depending on that as your way to build wealth, you'll be broke. You'll be broke because people can manipulate currency. And that's education, learning about something. I'll bet you this Peter Schiff hasn't listened to more than 5 videos. You can tell by his interviews, by his conversation, he knows nothing about it. Nothing. Calls it a Ponzi scheme and whatever. And he's on the digital now. So he's going to come back on, man, was I wrong on this? But that's everybody's choice, what you believe in. You want to choose to believe that? Your choice. You can. You can take these 3 strategies and take action on them. And then there are going to be people that will tune it out, get on that busy bus, miss it, and they're going to be wondering what happened. A year from now, they're going, man, I wish I would have done this. That's the regret. I wish I would have bought Bitcoin at 1,000. Well, you didn't. Can you buy it at 100,000? Yeah, you can. Michael Saylor's not selling. He's buying. He's thinking 1,000 years, where a lot of us are thinking 1 week. That's the forward thinking of a person, a smart elect. He bought Apple at 50. He bought 50 million worth of Apple, and then he cashed out at 10 times that, 500 million. So he obviously saw some. Apple and I think Google was the 2 companies he bought. And so you look at somebody that has that kind of like curiosity, and you can see it's paid off. Look at Elon Musk. He wasn't paid anything at Tesla until he cashed out at 55 million or whatever it was. He believed in himself. He believed in where he was taking the company. And he delayed his gratification till later. If he doesn't make that company a success, his compensation would reflect it. But he did. He believed in himself. And so you have to believe in yourself. And if you do, and you get your questions answered, like we're starting the first of the year, flip the script. So the 350 people that have been on my podcast, maybe it's not 350, but I've had people on twice. So let's just say it's 300. They have an opportunity to flip the script. We pay for everything. You come on as a host and interview me. Ask me any question you want. We're just going to turn it into a podcast. One, you might like it. You might like being curious, finding out. But more importantly, you're going to get every question that you think of when it comes to this major transformation to digital answered. And hopefully the light bulb goes off and you look at your business and your life differently. So go take the masterclass. It's free. And the last one is really, let me get this off the screen. Okay, the last one is high performance coaching, mentoring. I like sports analogies, but we can go back. We've been in the political arena for a little bit, so let's go to the basketball arena. When Michael Jordan came out of college, his story is a brilliant one. If you haven't seen the Netflix movie, it's wonderful. So, but here's the thing: he goes to Chicago. He's a top scorer for a couple of years. I don't know the exact number of years. But then the owner hires Phil Jackson. Now, Phil Jackson had won 2 championships as a player, had not won anything yet the first time he came in, but he was a high level, they call him a Zen coach. This was an example of a high performance coach. He comes in, he works on the system. He finds the right people to put around the system. Scottie Pippen, Bill Cartwright, John Paxson was before Steve Kerr. He put Dennis Rodman, defensive specialist. He put this team together on the bus, worked the system, got Michael working within the system. Fast forward, he wins 5 championships. So that's an example. When you hire a high performance, you're going to get a high performance result. But he had to get them to buy into it. He didn't just click his fingers and win 5 championships. He put the time in. He worked with the people. He developed them. He developed the system. He got them to believe in it. They were able to see results the first championship. They bought into the second one, the third one, the fourth one. Each time he was fine-tuning things. People would leave and he put another person in. He goes to LA and he creates more championships. I think it was 6 in Chicago and 5 in LA. You have 2 of the biggest egos, the late Kobe Bryant and Shaq. I mean, those 2 guys, 2 big egos, but he was able to work it. He was able to get them to work together, 5 championships. So that's the example that you need in business and in life. Hire a high performance coach, and you have that option. I think it's number 3 on the ecosystem, but it's Brendon Burchard, 20 years. Let me repeat that, 20 years of high performance coaching. Success, Google his name. He's got the biggest community of personal development in the world. I think it's 192 countries, 500,000 people by the time this video was on. You look at that, do you think that there would be something to learn from this guy? Yes. His daily fires are unprecedented. They're frameworks. They're thinking of 20 plus years put in you. So you have that. And I've been certified. So I first got a coach with a high performance, got results, decided I would go back and be certified, met a guy, Mark Matthews. Hey, Mark, met him and asked if I could switch to him. He's got a PhD in human behavior, Ohio State, unbelievable guy. And he pushed me and pushed me and pushed me and challenged me. And I got results. But I begged him to be my coach when I got back at 7 o'clock on a Monday. That's all he had left, all he had open. But they said, yeah, if you want to switch, you can switch. So I switched after I was starting the second session. It was 12 weeks with the coach in Growth Day. And so I tell you that you want to surround yourself with a community of winners, people that pull you up, stretch you, challenge you, and give you a framework, a coaching framework that's a high performance. Kind of consider him the Phil Jackson of personal development. And if you're not a basketball fan, look him up, Brendon Burchard, Growth Day. And a part of it, we even have, I think I'll go ahead. Okay, take an assessment. I got to know where you are. If I know where you are, I'm looking at my time because I have a session at 9. If I know where you are, I can help you. If I don't, I can't. So take an assessment. Take an assessment. It's free. It'll take you about, 6-7 minutes at the most. And then we're able to see when we put you on a podcast, I know about you. I can craft your story to connect with who you're trying to impact. So it's a much better podcast. We call it now Podcast with Purpose. And so a lot of people podcast, but you have to have a purpose in everything. Podcasting, life, business, whatever. And that's a whole subject for another day. So take the assessment. And I will let you see, because I'm talking all about Brendon Burchard. Try it for 7 days. We're turning the first of the year. This video is coming out in the latter part of December of 24. So 25, as we make you great again, 10x your life and business now, you want to take advantage. 7 days, you get it for free. Then it's an investment in you. $49 a month to get the best. It's the Netflix of personal development. I'll have it for life. I've had it for 10 months, and I never missed a daily fire in 10 months. Never missed one. I've listened to everyone, and now I'm applying it, teaching it, taking it to the next level, because you keep getting better and better and better. And if you go to PeteKane.me/growth day, it's an affiliate. So if you get it through that link, send us an email at support@PeteKane.me, and I'll send you our free course on mindset, goals, and habits. That's the 3 key: mindset, goals, and habits. You have the right mindset, you set the goals, and you create the habits, you're on your way. So you get that for free. So this is a little longer than I intended it, but hey, I want you to crush it. And I want you to crush it now. Don't wait. Wait, you may never do it. You take action now. If you're looking, take the master class. Take Jeff's AI course, understand AI, and then take that assessment. And after the podcast, what we do is we do a strategy session with you. It's a way for us to help you with your strategy. Now, whether you want coaching, one-on-one or group, that's your choice. But we give you that choice because we're scaling, and we'll do 100 magazines next year, minimum 100. And there's a whole strategy behind that, a community of podcast stories worked into a local magazine, printed from Amazon, both in digital and print form. Get it to you quickly. So as I wind down, 1, get familiar with AI. 2, build a digital footprint. Get ready for the digital revolution. It's already started. The best time would have been 2 years ago. The next best time is now. So Google me. Just Google me, then Google yourself and see where that gap is. That's the opportunity for you. And then the last one is that assessment. High performance coaching will put you at a high performance level. And you're going to want to perform at the highest of highest levels as we get into this year, because the political climates are in our favor. The wind is blowing behind the sails. So, or you can either get on the Trump train or get crushed by it. I think a lot of Democrats are going to get crushed by it, because I hear them talking and I'm going, hey, they're being run over. Some are jumping on the train, some aren't, but that's choices. We always have choices in life. So thank you so much. Be bold, make an impact, and have fun.